Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mcconus Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mcconus Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mcconus Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mcconus Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mcconus Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mcconus Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mcconus Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mcconus Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mcconus Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today, and support the Mike Wagner Show at paypal.com/Mike Wagner voiceover, also on Anchor FM/support. And also you can check out the cool merchandise on Amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show. And also me and Motion Zia with his great books, merchandise, and get some pop sockets, t-shirts, hoodies, and all kinds of great grift ideas. So go to Amazon.com today and check it out. He's back by popular demand, the very, very talented author and owner of Rock Hill Publishing. And of course, he's got his Killer series, and he's working on book number 3 of the Killer series. We talked about book 1 of the Killer series, which is Killer with a Heart, and also Killer with 3 Heads. And we'll be talking about that. And he grew up in New York City, and also he wrote Pegasus, Journey to New Eden, and The Emerald Lady, and a lot more. And he'll also be talking about his ever-expanding roster featuring 5 brand new authors. And, last we talked, we have maybe about a dozen or somewhere around there, but it's exploding like crazy, and he's going to need more web pages to put on. So, live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown New York City, the owner of Rock Hill Publishing and the very talented author, backed by popular demand, James Hill. James, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us once again.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Oh, it's great to have you back on. And last time we talked, I think it was they had to be like before COVID, I'm sure. And you had owner of Rock Hill Publishing. You talked about your great background. You also have your Killer series as well, too. Your first one was Killer with a Heart. We talked about the second, Killer with 3 Heads. And you also got book number 3 in the works. Yep, that's the one. You got that. And also, you also did Pegasus, Journey to the New Eden, The Emerald Lady. You also have 5 brand new authors you want to talk about. And before getting to all that, tell us once again quickly how you got started.
Well, how I got started as a publisher was I decided that I would publish Killer with a Heart and Pegasus. I got a sweet copy over here.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, you got it. We can see it.
So I decided, after going through all the hoops and things of trying to get published, I decided I would go ahead and do it myself. Like I said, I have a background in software engineer, and desktop publishing really came of age in like the 2000s. At the turn of the century, it really became a viable medium. And so in 2013, I decided to launch my own publishing company. And so I put it out my own work. And also I decided it wasn't that hard to do. So I would also give my talents and help new writers come along, because a lot of people are looking for, and I used to get this question all the time. Wow, how did you publish a book? What did you do? And these questions are coming to me from writers who want to know how to do it. So I was like, well, I would do it for them. I would open up my company and look for new writers and give them an avenue into the publishing world. I got an editor out of South Africa, and she was a very good editor, taught English. And I really need an editor. Every writer needs an editor. Let me put it that way.
And that's a given too. Just like podcast people need an editor as well too, or like say a producer or anything like that. The bigger outfits, need not just one person, but 2, 3, several. So once it grows, you're going to need more people, and that's so true.
Yes, and so as time goes on, as you grow, like you say, you need more people. You start needing cover designers. You need editors. You need somebody who can do formatting. You need people who can do marketing for you. It's so funny because you start out being all of these things, and as success and as the business grows, you start saying, let me find somebody else who can do this and who knows how to do this. So you don't want to learn everything yourself. You don't want to be building a house and have to be the plumber, the electrician, the roofer, you hire people, you get people who do these things, and that's how you get a successful house. So publishing houses are the same. You might start off with one book doing everything yourself, but you quickly learn that you need other people to work with you. And so here I am, 7, 8 years later, and going strong.
And so amazing too that you started in 2000 with your own publishing company, and 2013 you got it off the ground. And how's a publishing back then compares to today? Being easier. It's like, how easier, and what are some of the new cutting edge, and what's it makes it a lot more easier than it did, say, 20 years ago?
Well, there's a lot of programs out there now for formatting books. You had KDP, which was a good marketplace for them. I'm not really an Amazon person. Mm-hmm. I went through Ingram to do the Ingram because Amazon makes you somewhat limited to their platform, whereas Ingram Sparks allows you to be on multiple platforms.
Oh, interesting.
But being on Amazon, which is what I did for some of my new writers, it gave them more exposure through Amazon than what you would get not being in that world, using their publication tools and things like that. So, and it's not like you can't move off of that and onto a wider platform sometime later. They give you a certain amount of time that you have to be exclusive to their platform, but then you can move off and move on. And you're still on Amazon, just that you're not exclusively on Amazon. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that I learned. And, it helped my other authors more than me, because I already have my books out. Their books got a big launch by being on the KDP.
Mm-hmm. And of course, too, that, and of course, especially during the pandemic as well, too, that, writers are making most of their opportunity, during the pandemic. And how else can they make the most of it, during this pandemic? Like, what are some of your thoughts, and what are some of the suggestions? How could they better themselves during the pandemic?
Well, podcasting took off. Well, it was coming up and being built up over the last few years, but it really took off when the pandemic hit, because then everybody knew about Zoom. Everybody knew about these podcasting things. And a lot of the book fairs and book festival and conventions and all these things that people have to travel to, they went virtual, which means you can do a lot more of these things because it doesn't cost you to travel. And believe me, I love to travel. I love the idea of going down to Miami.
I think many of us miss that, I'll tell you.
Yeah. If I don't miss anything else, I do miss the idea of travel. Now, I'm not really crazy about, spending 8 hours in an airport and all that kind of stuff, but I do love it when I get to the destinations. And, I did the Miami Book Fair, every year for a while. I did LA Book Fair, San Diego Book Fair, because I was living in San Diego at the time. So it was a shorter hop to go to LA and do their book fair. But I did some in Maryland, and it cost you though. And back in New York, of course, I had to go back to the hometown. But all of these fairs and festivals and conventions, they all cost you if you have to travel there. Mm-hmm. And that's a big drawback, especially to new writers or unfamous writers, put it that way. Because, right. No one is paying you to go to these things. It's out of pocket for mostly everybody else there who's not a big name or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so with Zoom and with everything being virtual and using that kind of a platform, it becomes affordable and doable for a lot more people. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, you talk about the new books as well, too. Maybe give a little recap about the Killer series, starting very quickly with the Killer with a Heart, your first book, followed by Killer with Three Heads, and talk about your upcoming, book number 3 of the Killer series. So quickly stop with your first 2, lead up to our third.
All right. Killer with a Heart started because I wanted to write the beginning story of how criminals, mafia dons and gang leaders and things like that, how they are built and how they come about. So these two guys, Nikki Nails, and Mojo, Morris Johnson, they get together as teenagers and they start flourishing in the crime business, in the crime world out of New York. Of course, I wrote it about New York because I knew quite a few people growing up in that life, in the gangs and in the mob and all that kind of stuff. I moved into a mob neighborhood. So quite a few of my friends were junior mafias, and they were just waiting their turn to join the family business.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I knew a few people who were in the mob and things like that, and you hear things.
Oh,
so,
my goodness.
So that kind of like was the basis for my idea about writing this series. And it's because every time you hear someone on TV getting busted as a Don, a Godfather, or some gang leader, everybody always say, "Oh, he was such a nice guy." I didn't know that about him, and it's because these people keep a secret life, and you don't know that about them. They live a nice family life. The guy goes off to work every day, 8 o'clock. One of the people I knew in the mob told me, "You keep a 9 to 5 if you want to stay out of trouble." So, you have to have a nice life in order to be in the crime life, in this other life. So I wrote The Killer with the Heart to show you where these people get started. And they rob a mob money drop. And that starts a mob war between these two families.
Mm-hmm.
So then we move on to Killer with Three Heads. Now, naturally, as they're going up the ladder of the crime world, Mojo, Morris Johnson, he becomes an international criminal, and he gets into the drug wars. So he's hired by the government on a war on drugs, which is kind of like a sham because they really wasn't trying to stop the drugs from coming into the United States. They just wanted to control it. And they kind of like wanted to control the South American countries, namely Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
Because Venezuela has more oil than the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
And we were losing our handle on the Middle East.
Mm-hmm. And I remember about Venezuela saying that it was once upon a time the most prosperous country where people go there vacation, a lot of fun, music, and of course a lot of oil. And all of a sudden, when new leadership took over, everything just went south. Just like that. And all of a sudden, it's like Venezuela is known for crime, drugs, and whatever else. But you're right, it's become more of a cover up, and that's getting more common these days.
Yeah, and that's usually what happened with governments and places, around the world. The oil's still there. It's the mismanagement of the businesses and the corruption in the government which is why things start to deteriorate and fall apart. And then you have, rampant crime because people still need to live and they will do whatever they have to do to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty much how Nikki and Morris look at things. They will do whatever they have to do to live and survive.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other thing that Morris becomes is he becomes a arms weapons developer. And he developed technology for guided missile systems.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes him very popular and very kind of like in demand with the United States government.
Mm-hmm.
We love our weapon systems.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I just keep dreaming of having that big Tommy gun or an Uzi. And you know what? I mean, realistically, we can't get it, but it's like, it's every person's dream, I'm sure. Just like a killer with them, like a toy gun at Western, bang, 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 bang. Just like.
Oh, yeah. How many of us would, if we could, run outside with our machine gun and mow down the neighborhood that was giving us trouble? Most of us would say, I wouldn't do that, but only because, you go to jail. But, it's the American way. We love our weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And weapon systems, and people who developed them and traded them become very rich and powerful people. So that's what Killer with Three Heads is. It's him taking over the crime, the government, the business world. He becomes a big person in all these different things. And because people are willing to look the other way on the crimes and things like that, as long as they're getting what they want out of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's all kinds of international intrigue and mystery going on, and of course a fair amount of killing and things like that, that we love to put in our adult crime novels.
And there's a lot of it as well, too. We'll talk about a little bit what to expect in book 3 of the Killer series. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mian Mosensia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook, which is Missing by Mia Mosensia. And Missing has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And don't forget to support the Mike Wagner Show at paypal.com/Mike Wagner voiceover. You can also go to the MikeWagnerShow.com and click donate. And you can also go on Anchor FM/support. Also check out the cool merchandise on Amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show and me and Motion Zia for some great gift ideas and more. So check it out today. We're here with the owner of Rock Hill Publishing and author James Hill of the Mike Wagner Show, talking about the first 2 books of the Killer series. Now let's get into number 3 you're working on. Maybe tell us just a little bit about it, and when can we expect number 3 to come out?
Okay, number 3 is going to be called Killer with Black Blood.
Killer with bad blood?
No, Black Blood.
Black blood. Okay. All right. Killer with black blood. Look for it.
And the reason behind the title is, and I grew up in New York, and of course I went to Catholic school. I'm a Catholic school boy. That's why I'm so twisted and sick. No Jesuit priest.
Father, forgive me, please. Father, forgive me.
Yeah, no Jesuit priests and Sisters of Charity, boy, they do a number on you. But anyway, so I grew up in Catholic education, and one of the stories you hear is that when Judas died, when he hung himself for betraying Christ, he bled black blood. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing I got into a lot of problems with and a lot of trouble in high school was I always debated the priest on whether or not Judas was actually, as they portray him a lot of time, the bad guy in the whole crucifixion story. Because Jesus actually picked Judas to be part of his disciples. And he must have known Judas was going to betray him. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, if Judas doesn't betray him, Jesus doesn't get crucified. And if Jesus doesn't get crucified, all religion's gone. So, you have the idea of you pick your enemies and you pick your friends. And sometimes you pick your friends who will be your enemies, even though you know that.
And of course, it's most important to watch your friends and more importantly, watch your enemies. Sometimes it's the other way around.
Yes. And so that's the whole idea behind Kill with Black Blood, is that these 2 guys, Nicky and Morris, had come up. Nicky is now the godfather of the family. And there's this betrayal that goes on. People die, people are killed, and they have to hunt down the betrayal. Sometimes betrayal is not as you think it is. It's not so much a betrayal by your enemies, but it's a betrayal by somebody close to you. And it's not really a betrayal of them, but it's sort of like to help you, as Judas helped Christ and the whole crucifixion. he had to betray him in order for them to crucify him. So in some cases, you need somebody to do something that would be maybe detrimental to you, but it's also to save you. And so that's Killer with Black Blood, kind of like not giving away too much of the story, but it's going to be an interesting tale. Let me tell you that.
And that's a really interesting take you did on, Judas betraying Jesus. And that's a very, very interesting point. And where can we find the Killer series, and when can we expect Killer Black Blood coming out?
Well, you can go to Amazon and find it there. You can get it off of Rock Hill Publishing, of course. And wherever they sell books, you can find the Killer series. And Killer with Black Blood should be out by this summer. I'm in maybe the second or third editing rewrite of the story, working on it. And so I should have it in my editor's hands within maybe another month or two. And then by that time, we'll be working on getting it out. Got to get a book cover, got to work on the book cover, got to work on a couple other things, but all of that stuff is rolling now.
And we're certainly looking forward to it, James. We're here with James Hill, the owner of Rock Hill Publishing, on the Mike Wagner Show, author of the Killer series. And not only did the Killer series, just quickly talk about some of your other books, like Pegasus, Journey to New Eden, The Emerald Lady. And if you want to quickly highlight some other books, you can do so as well.
Yeah. Okay. I show you the cover to Pegasus, and today they landed on Mars. Today they dropped the rover on Mars. And the Pegasus cover, this way. Okay. So the Pegasus cover is kind of like a picture from the Hubble spacecraft. It's called the Heart and Soul Nebula. And it's because two people get trapped on this spaceship and they're supposed to be going to New Eden and colonizing the new planet. And they wind up being the only two people who escape Armageddon, so to speak. And so it's the heart and soul of these two people being launched into space and how they must save humanity and find out the secret to Pegasus. Then we have, there you go, the Emerald Lady.
The Emerald Lady. Now I see it.
Yeah. And the Emerald Lady is my fantasy trilogy. So it's the first in three. The second one is called the Ruby Cradle. And the third one is called The Diamond Warrior. So it's called the Gemstone series because each book is a gemstone.
Gemstone, interesting.
Yeah. So the Emerald Lady takes place in 17th, 18th century, the golden age of piracy. And this guy who's a merchant sailor, he winds up in a shipwreck and he's saved by a mermaid. And the mermaid goes to her mom, the queen of the mermaids, and asks for help to ferry the guy back to land. She puts him on a sunken ship, in an air pocket on a sunken ship, and asks the mom to ferry him back to land. And the mom tells her, absolutely not. He should have died at sea. Let him die. And so she can't let him die because she had fallen in love with him. Now, as we all know, men fall in love with mermaids at first sight. But that's not nearly the case for the mermaids. But mermaids had this telepathic ability, and so she can feel his heart. She knows he's a good person. And so she fell in love with him for that reason. And therefore she helps him and causes the tragedy. Because of that, the mom cursed her and him. And so she cursed her daughter in that she will remain in human form, but can't leave the water. And so Jeremy said, that's fine. I will take care of Shira. And she'll not want for anything. And the mom tells him, well, that's good, because as long as Shira's alive, you can't die. And then he finds out mermaids live for 1,000 years.
Wow.
And Rahima, the queen of the mermaids, then goes out of her way to torture this poor guy. She kills him in multiple ways. And every time she has him executed, he doesn't really die, but he feels the pain of it all. And so it creates another war between the mermaids. And then we have dragons who are the bad guys in the trilogy. And so they bring back the dragons into this world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's interesting too. How'd you come up with the concept of the gemstone?
Well, I figured the gemstones are because they hold power and mystical powers in some cases. If you go through and you look at the different types of gemstone, each one of them gives you some sort of power over your life, healing powers, mental powers, things like that. So these gemstones have been studied for years and centuries, and people believe in the powers of the gemstone, the crystals and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like gave it that idea of each gemstone or each title has something to do. Now, the Emerald Lady is because they raised this ship out of off the bottom of the ocean, and they make sails out of it, out of the seaweed. So she had big green sails and this type of thing. The Ruby Cradle is what they actually lock the dragons in.
Oh, wow.
They go back to a crystallized form as they get trapped and defeated. You can't kill them, but you can drive them into this crystallized form that looks like a ruby.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the Ruby Cradle. And then, of course, we have the Diamond Warrior.
Mm-hmm. And that's so amazing as well, too. And where can we find all your books and all your series at?
Again, Rock Hill Publishing. You go to the website. There's a place to buy all the books of Rock Hill Publishing, and you can also find them on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all kinds of outlets online. Every book that Rock Hill Publishing puts out, they put out an ebook version of them also, so you can get them online.
Mm-hmm. And that's very amazing too. And not only author James Hill has a lot of his books on Rock Hill Publishing, as we were with James Hill here on the Mike Wagner Show. He also has some authors on there, including Myron Edwards we had on the show, and also quite a few others he would love to mention. He also has 5 brand new authors that has joined the rosters. And who are they? We'll tell you in just a minute. Listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Moshenzia of Missing. Catch his book on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with author and owner of Rock Hill Publishing, James Hill, after this time out.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mia Moshenzia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzia.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and more. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, where The Mike Wagner Show interviews great guests, cool conversation, lots of laughs, coffee, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device, subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We're back with author James Hill, the owner of Rock Hill Publishing here on the Mike Wagner Show. And not only talked about his Killer series, also the Gemstone series and how he got started. It's great to have him back as well. And he's also got a a huge list of authors on the roster, including Myron Edwards. We had him on the show. Also, quite a few others he can mention. And also, he'd like to introduce 5 brand new people. And first of all, maybe just give us a brief overview of some of the authors you had on, including Myron Edwards and more. Also, tell us about our 5 new authors on your Rock Hill Publishing roster.
All right. Let's go with Myron. Okay. And Myron had these 2 books out. This is hard to see sometimes. Mm-hmm. This is there we go. All right.
Let's see. Maybe this way. Maybe this way.
This way. There we go.
This way. Okay. Oh, you got it. Okay, good. I see it.
There you go. It takes a while for me to figure out the camera angles. So this is the Mistress of the Rock, and followed by Skeela the Revenge. Mm-hmm. So these are Myron 2, and he had the 3rd one coming out this year. And we are discussing titles now. He like Alpha and Omega. I'm not too crazy about that title, but we might go with it. He seems to love the title.
Well, maybe after a few beers in Cyprus, I'm sure you guys can come up with good names. Say after a few beers in Cyprus, like, yeah, that's good enough. So
yeah, maybe I'll send them a couple of beers. I drink Heineken's. I don't know what they're drinking in Cyprus, but maybe we can knock back a few virtually.
I think he mentioned the name of the beer, and I can't remember. I'll probably get with him on that. And it's like a virtual. And of course, I drank Heineken's back in the day, on my Heineken, or what was it? What's the new trendy beer? Was it like Pale Moon or White Moon or something big
Blue
wheel?
Moon.
What's that?
Is it Blue Moon?
I think it is Blue Moon. You're right. And there's also another thing like something wheel. It's like, it's been such a long time. It's like there are days I forget what I have for breakfast, how many cups of coffee I had, which speaking of which, it's like, this will give me a reminder. So, but yeah, though, you also had some other authors. You can also highlight those. And afterwards, you can also talk about your 5 brand new authors you just put on the roster.
Yeah. So we have John Ford, who's a sci-fi writer. Now he's a hard sci-fi writer, or I would call it a hard sci-fi, because he's very scientific. It's about AI. It's called Dominion. We got a shot here. Mm-hmm. Called Dominion, and he writes this story about an AI, a scientist who kind of like falls into this discovery of AI as he's trying to work on something else. He's working on figuring out the brain. And as he's working on this, kind of like figure out how the brain works, he develops this AI brain, and it then interacts with him and the rest of the world through psych. It kind of like becomes self-aware. As we all know, the very biggest problem with AI is it one day will become self-aware. And when that happens, we're in trouble.
Oh, so, yeah. I'm starting to see that already. It's almost like you can't tell who's human, who's a robot these days, or a computer. It's like, I mean, somebody like me could be floating somewhere in the United States, maybe 2, 3, maybe a dozen or so. It's like, you never know if it's not controlled.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the day where I can duplicate myself and I can get much more done.
Something with AI, it's like you've got your problem solved, editor, publisher, proofreader, and all that. It's all of a dozen U's on there. So I think I'm getting some good ideas already. Thank you very much, John.
and one of us can actually sleep.
Oh my gosh. You know what? That is the one thing I hate to say with the pandemic at times. It's like you may be at home, but you also work more. It's like you don't know when you sleep, what time you get to sleep, or even know what day it is. Like you're stuck indoors. It's like there's like a good and bad to just about everything. But you're right, though. It's like time to sleep. It's like, when do you sleep?
Yeah. So that's John Ford. We also have Zach Mcconus. He's a Greek, and he wrote. There we go. The Crescent and the Cross. It's called the Velolis Chronicles. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a series of books. This is the first one, The Crescent and the Cross. And it's about the period during the fall of Constantinople. Mm-hmm. And part of it is from his family history. As you know, all Greeks are very, very fond and proud of their family history.
Yes.
I never met a Greek who was not.
Well, you can ask Myron, like, you know, his fine fellow friends in Cyprus, like they all know. So
yes,
we love you, Myron, by the way. We love you. So
we love Myron. Me and Myron gets along very well. And one day I'm going to get over there to Cyprus. You know, I got to get over there. And I found out you can go skiing in Cyprus and then to the beach in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you guys will hop over the Greece as well too. And we've been talking about for quite some time. And preferably the best time is when they lift the COVID restrictions. I mean, that's probably the best time. It's when COVID is done, you're free of travel. It's like, then you go. Until then, save your money.
Yes, indeedy. Other one. The reason why I was able to get so many books done, because my editor, who, as I told you, lived in South Africa, came here because she comes back and forth every now and then so we can do the book fairs and things like that. Well, she came here in January because we went on a publishing cruise to learn some more stuff about publishing. So she came over in January and we came off the cruise and right into COVID.
Oh.
And she had not been able to leave.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so she's been stuck here a year.
Wow.
And since she's been stuck here, and since she lived in South Africa, we would only have an hour or two at a time to talk and work things out because, you know, it's 7-8 hours different time. Mm-hmm. So my mornings are her nights are my morning or whatever, you know, 8 hours. So we will be able to work for a couple of hours and then, you know, we're working on our own and we can only get together for an hour or two at a time. Mm-hmm. So since she got stuck here, we decided to make the best of it. And the best of it means she did a lot of work. We was able to bounce things off of each other full days. And therefore we was able to get a lot more work out. Mm. And this is Hemispheres. Oh, here we go. This is called Hemispheres. And it is by Mark Everglade. And it is another science fiction. This is a cyberpunk science fiction.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Now, when I published this book, I had no idea what cyberpunk was. In fact, you probably would know it from Blade Runner and different types of story of that nature. That's cyberpunk. Mm. Now, I always call them all science fiction.
I do remember Blade Runner. I think it's, what was it, Wesley Snipes, and it turned in such a successful franchise with like so many Blade Runners, offshoots, and everything else. I specifically remember that. I remember watching the original with it. It's like, it was just amazing how it's done.
Yeah. And so this story, Hemispheres, is about a tidal locked planet, Gliese 281, I think it's called, or 581, which is an actual planet. Mm-hmm. And a tidal locked planet means that it is tidal locked to a sun. So one side always faces the sun, one side always faces away from the sun. Mm-hmm. So one side is blazing hot, while the other side is freezing cold. It's like our moon. Our moon is tidal locked to our planet, so we only see one side of the moon at any time. And so the people who came from Earth settled the planet, and it's about the technology and how the government controls who has light. So and light becomes their currency, light becomes power. There's always something that gives you power, and the light becomes the power. Well, they have people who want to speed up the rotation of the planet so that it will have a regular night and day for everybody.
Interesting.
Of course, that's going to cause a lot of disruption, but what it's mostly going to cause is a civil disruption, because if your whole economy and your whole way of life depends upon who controls the light. If everybody's now going to be able to get daylight, there goes your control.
It almost sounds like I'm reading a report now that there's so many satellites that go up. It's like the satellites are now controlling with the weather and the daylight, the time, and everything else. Satellites are pretty much messing everything up. And of course, once someone gets a hold of the whole satellite system, I mean, everything's to be turned upside down. So it's almost like what they're doing as well, controlling the light. They're pretty much controlling everything. It's almost like controlling the world economy.
Yeah. As you say that, there's always a fear that we put so much stuff up there that is going to cause us to be trapped on this planet, because a couple of crashes and you're going to cover the entire planet in space junk.
Mm-hmm.
Then you won't be able to go into space anymore without hitting something. And every time you hit something, you cause more space junk.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're trying to figure out, how do we get all this stuff out? Because let's face it, we only been doing it for like 40 years.
40.
But we dumped a lot of crap up there.
Boy, what's worse? It's like, having all these satellites up there or asteroids. It's like, pick your poison.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, they're trying to figure out a way to put, after all, we just throw stuff away. So we launch the rockets and boom, we leave it up there. But, after a while, things start getting very, very crowded around Earth. And we have all these satellites. We have all the, booster rockets that are just floating around, because once they got the spaceship into space, the rocket stays there, and it floats around. And it's not like it just floats. Everybody thinks things in space are moving so slow. These things are moving out hundreds of miles an hour. And
I believe it.
Yeah. And being hit by something that's moving 100 miles an hour, 200, 300 miles an hour, is going to kill you.
That is no joke whatsoever. And of course, I remember the thing about Skylab was the first satellite that came up, and everybody wondered when Skylab going to hit. It ended up like in some cornfield or whatever it was. I think was in Canada or like in a remote area.
Some parts of it fell into Canada. Some of it fell into the Pacific Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is, how come we don't see any satellites, come crashing down of some sort? It's like, do they die out, or does somebody try to find a way to shut it down, just bring it down and just let it explode?
Yeah. And that's one of the things that they're trying to figure out now. Do we bring them back down? Can we push them out into space so that they're no longer in Earth orbit? Launch them into deep space somewhere. So we have those type of things. And of course, it's all because we have technologies, but we don't know what to do with them, or we don't fully know what to do with them. And that's pretty much what Pegasus is about. You build the technology, you're not quite sure how it's going to turn out. I have another book, another author. She's one of the 5, A.C. Kilgour. And her book is, can you pronounce that? No one really gets it right.
Nanogen.
Close. Nanogen.
Nanogen. Wow.
That's how she pronounces it.
Nanogen. It's like, what's up with that? Nanogen. Wow.
That's how she likes it. She wrote it, so therefore that must be the name. And it's a fantasy, and it's about elemental magic. So this girl wakes up in a completely different world. She's from North Carolina. She wakes up on this, I'm assuming, another planet, another world, but she teleported there in her sleep or whatever. And she winds up being the child of prophecy. A lot of fantasies have to do with prophecies and things like that, And so she wakes up and they want to know where she came from. Now the king knows about the prophecies. He knows about the Nanogen, the Nanogans. Nanogan. See, I still say Nanogans too.
I think I'll fall into a habit sooner or later until he gets shatized. So.
Yeah, I get shatized all the time for it. but he knows about her, or he knows about where she comes from. And so it's a world full of magic, and this is elemental magic. I mean, they control the wind, fire, water, that kind of thing. And so these people are born, some of them are born with the power. I think you have to kind of like be born with the power, and then they train themselves on how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And so she wakes up in this world, and the king is out to get her, and she winds up with a bunch of friends, and they're on a journey to not only overthrow the king, but find out what this prophecy is, and who's actually the child of prophecy.
Okay, and also our last author as well too. Since we're on the our new authors list, we already featured Zach Varkaris, Mark Everglade, John L. Ford, H.C. Kilgour, and also our last author you like to present for us.
Let's see, who's the last one that we need now? We need one more.
Let's see. I think it's I've got that written down. It's like you like to introduce David F. Baylog. I hope I got that right.
David Baylog, yes.
Yes.
And here comes his book.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant.
Yes. The magic of TV and video.
And Zoom.
Yes. And Zoom, yeah. And this is called Necromancer's Lament. And it's also about magic, but this is more spells and ancient times or medieval time type magic. So, and I love this because necromancer is somebody who deals in death. So this guy, from the title, you can tell the Necromancer's Lament, he's not quite happy being a necromancer, but he's going to use his necromancing power not to bring the dead back, but to get rid of them, because the dead should stay dead. And so there's all sorts of trouble, and people are out to steal power and things like that. And so this young kid, and it's a very interesting story because it's told from the point of view of like a memoir. So he's telling the story of how he was a kid and a young guy and start growing up, and he started finding out he had these powers, and they're actually teaching him. So different between elemental magic and spell casting, if you would, that you can learn to become a wizard. You can learn magic and become and how to use it. Whereas elemental magic, you're kind of like born with it. And in this, they're kind of like somewhat born with it, or they're born with the abilities, but they learn the different spells and they learn how to control the magic. And as he calls it, the weave, because it's kind of like weaves between life and everything is tied together in magic.
Wow.
This fantasy is very interesting and pretty much a wonderful read. They're all very interesting stories. They're all very unique. And that's what I like about being a publisher. You're kind of like introduced to a lot of different ideas, a lot of different stories. The doggies down here.
Oh, really? You got a special guest? I like to have him on board. So let's bring a special guest on board. You know, we love pets on the Mike Wagner Show. I've got Beagle Boxer, but you try to bring her down here, it's like she'll rip everything to shreds. So let's have you a special guest on board if he or she is willing to come up. So
no, hopefully not. It's a big dog. It's a bull mastiff, part bull mastiff. So he's about 60, 70 pounds of all muscle and teeth and pores.
Oh, wow. Well, you better get your dragon buddy to take care of it if he starts acting up. So you got that.
Yeah. but he loves Zoom. He is us on the Zoom meetings and stuff like that. And he comes down to see what we're doing and who we're talking to. He's a good dog.
Well, very good dogs indeed. And of course, you are listening to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, also 30 podcast platforms. We're here with author and owner of Rock Hill Publishing, James Hill. And, just a few things here that you introduced 5 brand new authors. And how can an author get to join your publishing? What do they do or need to do, I should say?
Well, on our website, rockhillpublishing.com, we're going to open up our submissions in April. So right now we're not taking submissions because we have a few more books coming out in the near future, and we're working on those. I'm finally getting back to my own work, which is, time consuming.
Oh my gosh, yes.
and my editor is working on her book now, which is also time consuming. So she has a second book coming out, from All I Ever Wanted, Jesse, now All I Ever Wanted, Julia. So she's working on that. And then we have Myron's book coming out, and a guy named Rosenquist, who we just signed. So we're going to do his. His is a sci-fi, I would say probably a young adult. It's called The Galactic Circus.
Galactic Circus.
Yes. So it's about a kid who runs off and joins the circus, but in space.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. And of course, my wife Serena also put out a couple books as well too, waiting to get published. Trouble in Time. It's a time travel and trying to get away from a mobster. Also, The Sweet Psalmist, about the Book of David. So those are some good ones to be on the lookout for. And of course, once again, for aspiring authors out there, and so make sure you send them in April, and he'll be glad to take a look at them.
Yep, we'll have our submission page up. So check on the submission, check on Rock Hill Publishing, look for the submission page. When it goes live, which I would say April, beginning of April, it is up then.
We certainly will do so. And once again, we're with author and owner of Rock Hill Publishing, James Hill, and the Mike Wagner Show. James, a very big thank you for your time. It's great to hear from you again. And me, you, and Myron, we have to get together virtually, like maybe a so-called Cyprus or something, and have one of the brewers or whatever it is, maybe whatever he has in Cyprus. And I mean, it's just great to have you back on again. Once again, tell us about your upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact you, and where can people purchase or check out your books?
Okay, you can always go to Rock Hill Publishing. Let's see, which way do I have to move? This way. The name, Rock Hill Publishing, for anybody who
Good dragon.
needs to know the spelling. Yep. So you go to Rock Hill Publishing. All the books are available there. You can download them. You can get the ebook there, or you can order paperback hardcovers. So they're all available on the website. Or you can go to Amazon, because Amazon's the #1 bookseller in the world. So you're going to have to be on Amazon sooner or later. Got to dance with the devil if you want to play the tune, or something like that.
That's right. And thank you, Jeff Bezos.
Yes. Jeff just went back to being, the richest man in the world again. So I'm not going to knock him.
Yeah, maybe he'll have a book about himself. We'll see what happens. Once again, James, a very big thank you for your time. It's great to hear from you again. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date as always. And you're welcome to come back anytime, and look forward to having you on in 2021 and beyond. And as always, you're fantastic. And don't forget to keep in touch.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I always enjoy it. You're a great guy to talk to.
Hey, everybody. My name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People, based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.